Out of every map that it's possible to get in Bloons Monkey City's contested territory, I'm quite certain that the Key Hole Volcano Tile is the toughest of them all. And so today, I'm here to figure out exactly how far you can actually get on this map, and the reason it's so tough is mostly because of the layout of the track, which is really short while also not providing you with any good spots to place your towers. Beyond that, it bans you from using 3 different towers as well. And while the boomerang isn't particularly important towards achieving high rounds in contested territory, the Monkey Village and Ice Monkey certainly are. So, not having either one of them available, in addition to the way this map is designed, makes it really suboptimal for high round attempts. But still, I'm really curious to see just how far we can get, and if you end up enjoying this video, dropping a like and sub really goes a long way to helping it reach more people. I'm trying to reach 25,000 before the new year, and to get this run started, I put down a Ninja Monkey and a Wizard Monkey first, which are surprisingly effective during the early game in Bloons Monkey City, especially when you have level 5 or higher monkey knowledge for each tower, as the Bloon Jitsu is going to have 6 shurikens instead of 5, and the Wizard's Lightning has a 50% chance of removing the regrow property from Bloons, although that comes from level 4, but you get my point. This game has an advanced system of monkey knowledge that can be far more powerful than anything you get from the specialist buildings in BTD5. And I also use triple dart monkeys since they're cheap and effective as well, and made sure to begin farming too. Since the super monkey isn't banned, I'm going to need a good deal of money in order to set up 6 max temples somewhere down the line. Although of course they won't be able to have the ice monkey sacrifice, but still, I'm going to need close to $1.5 million. And if you're wondering why it's only going to be 6 temples, that's the most amount of super monkeys that you could actually have in this game. And I can't even put down a monkey town to earn extra money from popping the balloons either, but at least my farming was going pretty well. And while I didn't have the Ice Monkey slowdown available to me, I did have the Bloon Sabotage Ninja Monkey as an option at least, and beyond that, I began putting down balloon chippers too, which of course are incredibly broken in the BTD5 era games. I mean, those are the only games you can use it in, but there's a reason why it never made its way to BTD6. And this made it a lot easier to deal with the Moabs as we began pushing a bit further into contested territory. I also got a Spectre in the center of the map, which is kind of perfect with its circle path on this track honestly, and I continued building up the banana farms as well, turning them all into BRFs, which was giving me quite a bit of extra money every round. Beyond that, I had started having to deal with ZOMGs by this point, so I knew it was about time to beef up my defense some more. Mainly, I got down my first Sun God, and then another, and before long, I had all 6 of them placed around the map. Although of course I am going to have to sell them at some point because right now they already have the extra range upgrades, so they would just sacrifice each other if I tried to set up temples. But honestly, this is about where I plan to have the monkey temples down, because I really think it's best to have them closer to the track so they won't miss when the balloons are going around the circle part of it. And pretty soon, it was actually time to build my first temple as well, which I figured I would do in the center of the track, seeing as how this is most likely going to be the best spot of all of them. And like I was just saying a minute ago, we unfortunately don't have the Ice Monkey sacrifice as an option, meaning our temples won't gain an extra Ice Blast and they'll be a little bit weaker overall. But everything else is on the table, so I got the first temple set up, but it was honestly a little bit underwhelming. On easier tracks, when you set up your first temple, it will start cooking the balloons for a little while. But here that wasn't going to be the case. So instead, I continued building up my defense, first with a bunch of spike storms, and then I began getting more of the temples as well. I was also using supply crate helicopters to make the process of farming for cash a little bit faster, although I certainly don't mind all the extra lives they were giving me either. In fact, you can actually get monkey knowledge for activated abilities in this game. And one of the perks from that is that I get 5 extra lives sometimes after using one, so I'm quite literally being rewarded for being rewarded. But even with all of this income going on, it still was going to take a while to get all 6 of our monkey temples. I had my first one down after beating round 44, and wouldn't be able to get my second one until the end of round 54, and then it would take all the way up until round 73 for me to finally get the 6th one down. But now, we were basically set. And so, I got down more wide funnel balloon shippers and continued pushing forwards. Although, I was still farming at this point as well, because I knew there were still some towers left to get. First, I wanted to get a bunch of spike storms around the track again, which aren't exactly cheap, and then I also got down all of the crippled Moab snipers that I could as well, which really are not cheap. After that, I placed down my remaining mortar monkeys and upgraded them into artillery batteries for their ability to briefly stun ZOMGs, along with then placing down my remaining helicopter monkeys as Apache dart ships now. And for a while, I relied on this defense, using the balloon sabotage to slow everything down and doing my best to be on top of the other abilities as well. But eventually, I began considering what I could do next. Although at this point, I was kind of running out of towers honestly, but I knew one thing that I could still do, which would be to invest in as many balloon aerial denial system dartling gunners as I could. Although without the monkey fork glitch to duplicate the rockets, they aren't going to be quite as powerful. But still, this defense was keeping us alive, even past the round 90 mark. And of course, that got me thinking, would it be possible to get to round 100 on this tile? I mean, the balloons are pushing quite far at this point, and honestly, it's a little hard for me to tell how far our defenses can get. But there isn't really anything left for me to do besides continue using all of our activated abilities and try not to mess up in the process. But that can be easier said than done, because ability lag is a real thing in this game, even here on the mobile version. And if you've been wondering why I'm not playing on Steam, it's actually because that version of Bloons Monkey City has the tendency to crash all the time, especially when you're going for high rounds in contested territory. And thus, here I am. But, like I was saying about the ability lag, when things get all crazy like this, and the game starts lagging pretty badly, the activated abilities won't always work when you first click on them. And this leads to you sometimes using an ability twice when you only meant to use it once, but more importantly, it often causes a few seconds to go by when you aren't able to slow down the ZOMGs with the balloon sabotage, or activate the vengeful temple abilities that nearly quadruple their damage per second. And in this game, or any version of Bloons Tower Defense really, that time can be the difference between surviving and dying. But the pressure is even higher here because there is no way to save your progress in contested territory either. So once you lose, or the game crashes if you're on Steam, that's it. You have to start all over, which isn't very fun when it takes almost 2 hours just to get up to round 100. And speaking of that, I was actually about to do it. Here on round 99, I could tell that things were getting really tough, but I was still in the game, which was all that really mattered. I'm not sure what the record for this map is, or if anyone has even really tried to get as far as possible on it before me, but I have to imagine that I'm one of, if not the first person to break the round 100 mark here on Key Hole, which was rewarded by the game itself, as I actually got a couple of event rewards, including an ancient knowledge pack for my troubles. And then on round 101, all of those extra lives I'd farmed earlier actually came in quite handy, as I really thought I was going to just straight up lose here, but instead, I only bled a few hundred lives. In fact, this was enough to survive all the way to round 104, where I was finally taken out once and for all. And here you can see just how quickly a bunch of lives can get wiped out once the balloons have truly overpowered your defenses. But still, I was really happy with my performance here, and would love to hear just how far you've gotten on this map, or in contested territory in general, if you've ever tried it before.